As we bring 2025 to a close, I've been reflecting on some of the mistakes, problems, I don't know what else you want to call them, but things that need to get left behind in 2025 if you want to succeed. Now, if you don't want to succeed, feel free to click off this video. But if you actually want to hit that next level in your business, I'm going to be covering the number one thing you need to stop doing. And how this came about was, I'm going to start off by telling you where I got this inspiration from this idea and what made me realize it. And then I'm going to share some other ideas from perspective shifts that you can have, again, to help you make sure you hit your goals next year, not just let 2026 be a repeat of this year. So about a couple of days ago, actually, from the time I'm recording this, I started seeing a bunch of like Candyland like AI photo shoot. Like people would take their headshot or photos of them or selfies, and then they would put this prompt into ChatGPT. For those who don't know, ChatGPT, at the time we're recording this, just recently dropped their brand new image generator, and it's kind of going viral. And so in the real estate space, pretty much every realtor on my friends list on Facebook is posting photos of themselves as like sexy, like elves, pretty much. Sexy Candyland elf, Santa helper people thing, whatever. And it's so funny because I see these posts, and then in the comments, they're getting tons of engagement, but it's all their other realtor friends asking for the post. And so they're getting all this engagement, all these likes and hearts and stuff like that, and then they're getting all these comments, and then it's really just a bunch of other realtors, and then all the other realtors, they go and do the thing, and then it just keeps on going and going. So I decided to play the bad cop, right? A lot of people don't know that one of the easiest ways to get attention is just to go against the grain. Now, sometimes you got to be careful because that could lead to getting unwanted attention, or that could lead to you coming off in a way that doesn't suit your image. But I decided to put a little funny twist on it, at least funny to me. So I made a post in my Facebook page and a couple of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and said, instead of posting sexy Candyland photo shoots, you can use AI to grow your business. And then I put in the comment sections like 6 or 7 different YouTube videos. I have one for how to use AI to create a goal setting coach, how to use AI to create a scripts generator, how to use AI to get a scripts and roleplay partner, how to use AI to create content calendars, how to use AI to get pretty much anything that you want. And so one of the things that I learned is that there are so many different ways that you can use AI. But when it comes to like actually using it for your business, a lot of realtors tend to think that they're not tech savvy, and that excuse holds them back. But then for something like this, again, a Candyland photo shoot, everyone comes out their woodworks to start doing it. And while I gather my train of thought, one of the things that I saw that was interesting is in the comment section, there are so many people saying, oh, why not do both? Or why can't I do this versus that? Or, hey, stop being such a Grinch. It was very interesting. So I started reflecting, and that's when it hit me. The number one thing, the number one mistake, the number one belief, whatever you want to call it, that is holding you back, and most of the people in this real estate industry back, is groupthink. That's the number one thing, groupthink. We suffer from massive amounts of groupthink in real estate. And I've noticed it before, but it never really hit me until just more so recently. So I got my real estate license back in, what was it? I think September of 2021 is when I got my real estate license. So a little over 4 years ago from the time I'm recording this. I was just turned 20 at the time, got licensed with Keller Williams. And from the moment I got into Keller Williams, I noticed the culture was totally different from what I was used to. Now, at that time, I was drinking the real estate Kool-Aid. So I was attending Ignite. I attended Bold. I attended a family reunion. I attended Mega Camp. And it was just so different from my world prior to that. Because again, prior to that, I was in college and working 2 jobs, and then dropped out to get into entrepreneurship and real estate. So I don't grow up from a family of, at least my mom's side of the family isn't entrepreneurial, and that's the side that raised me. So I didn't grow up with entrepreneurs. I didn't grow up with people talking about personal development or mindset or goals or things we wanted to accomplish. And so when I got into the real estate world, and I kind of got immersed into it so quickly, none of it really clicked. I didn't realize it. But then as I started to grow this teaching business and started to grow Stop and Stare Media, I stopped being an active agent. And then I kind of got to see what real estate was from outside the box, from a different perspective. So for the longest time I was in it. And I remember the first time this came to mind was actually on one of my coaching calls, my old coach. And he was like, real estate agents are lazy. And I was like, I was a little offended because I was a real estate agent, still technically at the time, or coming out of it. And I was like, you think so? And he was like, yeah, brokerages, they just give them all the stuff they want, all the leads, all the trainings. They just want more and more and more stuff handed to them, more and more stuff done for them. And I never heard anyone talk about real estate like that. But then again, everyone I knew was already immersed in the real estate space. And so as I, again, reflecting for this video, started to put things together, there's so much groupthink going on in real estate. This Candyland photo shoot is just one example. But most realtors, what they're trained to do, especially at these larger brokerages, right, the Keller Williams, the Coldwells, the EXP, they're bombarded with tons and tons of training. So from the moment they get their license, they're taught to go on trainings, and it's usually all the same people, all beginners attending the same trainings, right? None of the big shots are attending the training. They're already running their business. They have their own thing going on. But they do that, and then after a while, after they've reached, critical mass, I guess you could say, it gets to the point where everyone kind of starts to sound the same. And it's this weird thing I noticed. It's like realtors are almost like their own subspecies of people, almost, it feels like. They, for whatever reason, the longer they stay in real estate, the longer they forget that they were actual people prior. They forget all their old hobbies they used to do. They forget all the stuff that used to make them fun. And it turns into something where it's always got to be real estate. You got to be selling 24/7. You can never turn it off. I'm always a realtor. I'm always trying to sell houses. Every conversation is a real estate conversation. These are things I've been hearing all the time when I was in real estate, but never really noticed until I got out of it. And now that I'm trying to help realtors with their marketing, one of the big things that they struggle with is coming up with content ideas. And I made a keynote, and I was just like, listen, if you're a parent, you can talk about all the activities that your children do. Right? If you like going to adult sports leagues, talk about the men's pickup leagues, the basketball, volleyball, or women's, or co-eds, or kickball, what's going on in your city. But again, so many people, they attend these groups, these classes, these masterminds with other realtors, and so they're just parroting what realtors from other states and cities say, and then hoping that it works in their own city. Now, here's why groupthink is dangerous. Especially in real estate. In real estate, there are so many moving pieces. So many moving pieces. Real estate legislation varies from sometimes house to house. You have two houses on the same parcel and have different zoning, right? Neighborhood to neighborhood, HOA to HOA, city to city, state to state, county to county, right? Tri-state to tri-state, whatever you want to call it. There's so many moving pieces in real estate, and when we start to pay attention to what other people are saying and doing, and we don't put any thought into why that worked for them, we're going to try and replicate that in our businesses and be very upset when we're not gathering the same results. And so if you do want to continue to succeed, when you hear people talk, don't just take exactly what they do. Figure out what is the principle, what is the lesson in whatever it is that they're saying, and then you have to figure out how can you apply that lesson to your business. Right? If you just try to take what everyone says at face value without taking into consideration the variables that were at play when that worked, then no matter how many times you're trying to repeat that play, you'll never get anything that you're actually desiring. Now, another example of this is Keller Williams. Each year they have a new training called Bold, right? It's going on usually year round, and this year for the first time, I think they updated their curriculum to include social media. And I remember on my social media feed, me and my buddy were talking about this. All the realtors from my old brokerage, I would just see them posting things, and one of the ones that stuck out to me was hey, I'm doing an experiment on my personal brand. What do you think about when you, what comes to mind when you think about me? And then it was all the realtors in my old office just commenting underneath each other's post and getting engagement or whatever. And again, it's kind of like when you get into real estate, when you get into these classes, you kind of get into this echo chamber and you never realize that what you're doing isn't actually working. And so if you are a realtor, it's super important to have a referral network, but it's also super important that you don't get misled thinking that you're getting engagement, thinking that you're getting traction when the whole time it's just people that are in your office or other realtor friends that you know that are commenting underneath your post. Right. Another example of groupthink that I think, this is one thing that I never understood. Realtors will post memes making fun of the very people that they're trying to attract and work with. And they're all laugh with each other. This one really blows my mind. Realtors will post meme. Now, I understand if you're sharing, because there's a lot of BS you deal with as realtors, which is why we resonate with a lot of these memes, right? But they're going to post it publicly on their social media accounts for everyone to see. Now, in the comment sections, there's a bunch of other realtors that are laughing, but you forget that you also have your clients on social media. And so when you're posting all these memes bashing the same people that you want to help, the people that you want to help are going to feel like they're a hassle, are going to feel like they're unwanted, are going to feel like you're just going to talk about them and make fun of them and, use them as a public example. Why would anyone want to work with you? But again, people post these memes, they get tons of traction because, again, realtors, we resonate with a lot of BS. We know all the BS we have to go through. But when you start reposting that stuff without thinking like, hey, who's going to see this and what reaction will they have? Well, if a realtor sees this, they'll probably laugh. But what if a prospective client sees this? Like, how does that look if you're just your social media platform is just used to bash and make fun of consumers? That's another that's one thing I never understood. Another example of groupthink that this one really blows mine. Keeping Current Matters is a company that provides a lot of great research, and they're a good company for the research they provide. But the social media graphics they put out, and they're just one that comes to mind, but a lot of these social media like content creation services, whether they're an agency or a big company, and they're doing the templated infographics. I don't know who started this whole I have to post infographics, I gotta post market stats. Before you got into real estate, I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you willingly and happily looked up market stats? When have you ever gone, prior to getting your real estate license, when have you ever gone to social media looking for real estate market stats? Right? Unless maybe you're a real estate investor, that's another story. But the average everyday consumer isn't eating, sleeping, and breathing real estate. And so when you're creating content, if you're just leveraging one of these, again, services like Keeping Current Matters, not to throw them under the bus, but if you're just leveraging those services to get, or you're paying for an agency a couple $100 a month to get, personalized content posted for you, none of that stuff is ever going to work. And again, I primarily teach AI marketing, so I see this super often. So many realtors will be quick to outsource their marketing to a marketing agency that just posts branded infographics. They get no results, and then they think that social media doesn't work. And it's social media works plenty. Your content is just awful. There was no thought. You just leveraged it out to somebody and got the same templated graphic that there's probably sending thousands and thousands and thousands of other realtors. I think Keeping Current Matters has tens of thousands of users, right? Tens of thousands of people posting the same exact thing. They're just slapping a different photo on it, right? That it has to stop, right? And again, I don't know who told real estate agents that they have to open up a Facebook business page, but leave that behind. Leave that in 2025. if Facebook business page should only be utilized really, again, some of your realtor, is if you're running ads, because you can't run ads from a Facebook personal profile. If you want to run meta ads in 2025, create your Facebook business page, right? Outside of that, you don't need a Facebook business page. Facebook business pages are pay to play. And so if you stay down that path of posting on your Facebook business page, you're gonna be wasting your time, energy, effort, resources, whatever you wanna say. So again, let's leave Facebook business pages in 2025. Have a couple photos on there, a couple testimonials, just so people know you're alive and in business. But outside of that, don't spend any bandwidth trying to keep up with a Facebook business profile, right? On top of that, if you have like an Instagram business profile too, it kind of goes the same thing. Let's say you have 1,000 or a couple thousand followers, right, on your regular personal page. Just use that. Like, why would you create a whole separate business page, start from scratch, build your following from scratch, just to post a bunch of just solds and just listed and other, again, templated infographics, right? One of the things I always say is not all marketing is good marketing, and sometimes bad marketing will do you more harm than no marketing, right? So if it's between no marketing and those templated infographics, I would just say don't post, honestly. Just skip the posting, use that time or energy that you would have spent creating those infographics and put that to something else that would be more productive and more fruitful. I've never met any realtors that have said, yo, I posted a Canva template and got business from it. Have yet to meet one. And if you are one, please post in a comment, let me know, and I'll shut up and I'll stop talking about it. But until then, I have not met a single realtor that got any business from it. Now, another thing that we need to leave behind in 2025 is the whole I'm not tech savvy thing. I talk to so many realtors, and all of them will tell you that they're not tech savvy. Most of them, generally speaking, right? I don't want to overly generalize. But like, then again, prime example with the whole Candyland shoot, they're using AI to generate selfie-like images of them. Like, that is quote unquote tech savvy. Like, just a few years ago, if you were to ask someone to do that, they would look at you like you had 3 heads. Like, how on earth can I do that? So it's like, it's not that you're not tech savvy, you're just not interested. That's really what it is. Because, at least for the veteran realtors, you were probably in business before any social media got into play, right? And then you figured it out, and you just kept it moving. And for the super veteran realtors who were probably in business prior to the MLS coming on, well, when that shift happened, well, you just figured it out, right? And so it's not that you're not tech savvy, it's just that you're not interested, and that's okay. But call a spade, right? Most people, if they knew that social media there was like an easy, 100% certain path that you can make a post and get clients from it, I promise you everyone would figure out how to record a video, everyone would figure out cameras and microphones and lightings and all the stuff, all the bells and whistles. But most people aren't. Most people are in the belief that, again, social media is a waste of time, right? You don't need to be doing social media. That's just like something you admin out. But yeah, that's another story. Another thing that, again, another example of groupthink in social media, not in social media, in real estate, is this whole idea that you have to be prospecting all the time, right? People put so much emphasis on prospecting and they completely let off marketing. Now, am I saying prospecting is useless? No. Am I saying prospecting is not important? No. But what I am saying is that if people put just as much effort into marketing as they did into prospecting, they would probably get a lot better results. Now, what's the difference between prospecting and marketing? Prospecting is more direct, like you going door to door, you cold calling, you sending out mailers. That's more so like prospecting. Marketing is like, again, you making content, things of that nature, creating things for people to come to you. Now, I made a video 2 weeks ago, and I kind of mentioned one thing that this guy Myron Golden said. He said, instead of trying hard to find people, spend all your time, energy, money, resources making yourself more findable to the people that already want to transact, right? So yeah, again, yes, prospecting is important, but whether you stay in business or not, people are going to buy, sell, invest in real estate, whether you quit today or not. And so for those that do, they're looking up people right now. And because you're not online, you probably won't get called. But if you were online, if you were someone that took content seriously, if you were someone that built a strong, robust online presence, you would be there, right? And they would probably reach out to you, because most people, according to NAR, reach out to the first or second realtor that they find, right? So if you're not one or two, you're losing out on, you're playing with a handicap pretty much, right? Or two handicaps, maybe three handicaps. But you're playing and you have a massive disadvantage if you're not one of the first two people that people see when it's their time to transact. Now, as we start wrapping this to a close, there's a couple other things that I kind of want to get off my chest for things that we need to leave behind. Again, the whole idea is groupthink, so I'm just calling out a bunch of different examples of where I see a groupthink happening. But the last thing I want to talk about is surround yourself with other business owners that have nothing to do with real estate. Again, if all you're talking to is real estate agents and you want to grow your real estate business, you're just going to be thinking like a real estate agent for the rest of your life. And if you think like everybody else, you get the results that everyone else has, and the majority of realtors don't have any results, right? Another thing that went viral this year that every one of my real estate friends just was posting was the stat back in, like, I think January or February. It was like 70% of realtors didn't sell a home last year in 2024. And like, I think another 17%, like 19%, sold between 1 and 19. Pretty much meaning almost everyone that you know in real estate isn't making any livable money at all. And a bunch of realtors are posting that. And so, again, if you want to get the same results that everyone else is having in 2025, you're going to keep doing what everyone else is doing. You're going to keep hopping on these trends blindly. You're going to keep reposting all these real estate memes. You're going to keep prospecting and completely neglecting your marketing efforts. You're going to keep just operating as everyone else. Nothing to stand out. No unique differentiator. Right? Another thing, there's more. Another thing that I hear every realtor offering is a home equity analysis, right? To the average consumer, they can just go on Zillow. Now, as a realtor, we know that Zillow isn't accurate. Like, you and I know Zillow isn't accurate, which is why home equity analysis are valuable. But if everyone is offering them, what is the value in it? Right? You have to put your own unique spin in it. And if you're going to a consumer talking about a home equity analysis, and then they hit you with the, oh, why can't I just go on Zillow? Now you have to sit there and show them and explain to them how it's different and why Zillow leaves out. But if you just figured out what it is that they actually wanted and presented them, you would be able to get so many more people on your list. You would be able to build your pipeline so much bigger. So even when it comes to providing lead magnets, like, don't just rip off and duplicate what everyone else is doing. Find a way to put your own creative spin on it, or find a way to put a little bit of you into everything it is that you do. Because if not, there's a good book that talks about, it's called Blue Ocean Strategy, or Blue Ocean, I think it's called. But pretty much in a red ocean, everyone is fighting with each other for the same scraps, right? And everyone, in order to get the scraps, they have to bite each other and attack each other. It's like swimming in an ocean of sharks, right? And it's all bloody. Or you can find yourself in the blue ocean. You can go against the grain. You can go away from the crowd, take the road less traveled by. It'll take a lot more work to figure it out, your positioning and all your messaging. But when you do that, you'll be able to differentiate yourself from everyone. And now there's so many people that are using AI incorrectly. I'm going to make a video on the AI mistakes. I have a video coming up called The 4 Fatal Mistakes, or The 4 Horsemen of the AI Apocalypse. Still figuring out the title, but with everyone that's starting to use AI incorrectly now, more and more people more people don't have a voice. All their marketing and branding and all that stuff is just AI generated. And for the people that went to Fiverr and hired someone overseas for like $5 an hour or something like that, they're probably using AI. And so it's like, you keep trying to take these shortcuts and it's just doing you more and more of a disservice. So again, to close the last point I had with groupthink, in 2026, I want to challenge you to really think deeply about how do I want to position myself? How can I make myself sound different than everybody else? And who can I talk to that's also a successful business owner so I can get some different ideas, preferably someone not in real estate, right? Because one thing that we can all resonate with is that in business, there's ups and there's downs, regardless of what business you're in, right? There's certain things that business owners all face, no matter what industry, what their business model, it doesn't matter. And so if you find other successful business owners, figure out what they did to succeed. And then here's the hard part. Figure out how you can apply those lessons into your current business. You're going to be able to approach real estate with a brand new pair of eyes, brand new, fresh eyes. You're going to start seeing things so differently, new ideas, new opportunities, new collaborations are going to open up in bunches. But it'll never happen for you if you don't break free from this groupthink mindset. And again, stay a part of your community, stay a part of your conferences, stay a part of your, your masterminds, whatever, all the other real estate agents. Because again, there's nothing new in the sun. You don't need to reinvent the real estate business. But if you want to differentiate yourself, you can't be a carbon copy of every other realtor, right? There has to be bits and pieces in there that you embed a little bit of yourself, or embed principles from other industries. Like the reason why this whole AI teaching business turned into what it is now is because if I was just an AI guy, all I would be doing every day is talking to other tech people. But I wasn't. I was a realtor at first, right? And then I started up a podcast, and then I got into public speaking, right? And then I was in church, and so I'm going to start embedding some more biblical principles in later videos, right? I left podcast, got into digital marketing in the worlds of funnels and, click upsells, click downsells, click funnels, go high level. Right? There's so many different side quests I've done on my entrepreneurial journey, and it gives me more and more perspective. On my podcast, I've done over 215 interviews, and it just gives me more and more perspective so that hopefully that when you hear me teaching AI and marketing, it sounds refreshing. It sounds like something no one's ever told you before. Not because it's, again, something's brand new. It's just something I took from out here and brought it into what I'm currently doing. So I'll leave you this one last quote, right? It is impossible or very, very difficult to think outside the box while you're still trapped inside, right? Extremely difficult. And a good video for you to watch is watch Plato's Allegory of the Cave. I don't remember it too well, but I watched it once, and it really sums up what I'm talking about here pretty well. Because in there was a guy trapped in a cave or whatever, and he ended up seeing the light and escaping from the cave, and he got to see what the real world is like finally like. And I guess he went back in and to try and help the other people that were trapped in the cave. But he had a new perspective. He left. He broke free from the trap before coming back. And so again, I challenge you to start breaking free. Get outside the box. Get out of the real estate. Every conversation got to be a real estate conversation mindset for 1 second, and start seeing the world. Start seeing other businesses, other industries, and see how they operate. And then come back and start applying the things that apply. That said, if you love this video, and you want to be part of the Q&A session that I'm going to have right after this, make sure to join my community. Links down below. And if you love these type of trainings, I'm doing a 5-day AI training going in January, starting January 19th. So more details on that to come as we get into the new year's. With that being said, I'll see you in the next episode or the next video.